Greetings to the family, greetings to the family. This is your brother Samal here for another episode here, the Artist Journal. If you are here for the first time, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe for me. The platform is growing exponentially, especially since being in Africa. It seems like you guys love continent from this side of the world. So we're making a point to be more creative and be more consistent. So I'm going to wait for some of you guys to come in. I pray that all of you guys are doing well wherever you're at in the world. I want to say top of the day, good afternoon and good evening. Again, if you're here for the first time, my name is Brother Samal. At the Artist Journal, we simply showcase our experiences from around the world. We done been to the likes of Morocco, Gambia, Senegal, Ghana, Israel, and now we're here in the beautiful continent of Africa, in a beautiful country called Kenya, in a beautiful region called Diani. Diani is a coastal region where you get about, I think, 10 miles of beach. So imagine that, family. So we're here today and we want to simply talk about, is Africa better for Black people, for Africans, so-called African Americans? And like I said in my last video, Malcolm X couldn't have said it any better. He said, just because kittens are born in an oven, family, it doesn't make the kittens biscuits. Because so-called African Americans was born and raised in the confines of America does not necessarily make us Americans. And I'm pretty sure that you guys, especially for those who identify with being descendants of this continent, you can identify with what I'm saying. A lot of our people in America, it's so much information that's going around. You know, a lot of us think that we are in fact Native Americans. A lot of us think that we are in fact anything but Africa, anything but Africa. And I'm here to say that I don't care what none of those people say. I understand that northeastern Africa is where, as scientists has confirmed over and over and over again, that northeastern Africa is where the first man came about. You know, so today I want to talk about, and I'm not going to take you guys long. I'm not going to keep you guys long, I mean. I'm going to simply talk about why I feel Africa, one, is a necessity for Black people, and why it is the best environment for Black folks, African Americans, to thrive in. Right? So we all know that from a historical standpoint, like I said in my last live, that from a historical standpoint, that the mid-Atlantic slave trade did in fact happen. So you have millions of people that was displaced from Africa to the Americas. One of my teachers told me about 15 years ago, it was so much movement of human beings that the earth like tilted off its axis. How real is that? I don't know, but it sounded good at the time. But it's recorded that over 400 million of our people was displaced from Africa to the Americas, where we understand that a lot of chattel slavery, a lot of unfortunate things happened to us as a people. It's kind of interesting because I run across a lot of people that's in and from Africa that hasn't done the necessary homework as to what African Americans been through. And it's hard for them sometimes to relate as to why we might want to come back home, or why do we leave the West to come to Africa while you have many resources there in America? Why would you come here? And they don't understand that there's a cultural pull on us, you know, to come and to reconnect to Mama Africa in so many ways. So Mid-Atlantic slave trade, to the civil rights movement, dealing with the Jim Crow laws, all of these things was designed and created for us not to thrive, for us not to be able to thrive in the Americas. So we're gonna freestyle today, and I'm gonna again paint a picture for you guys. See, the Jim Crow laws was designed, actually I have handy Google right here. So Jim Crow laws, right? The Jim Crow laws were state and local laws introduced in the southern United States in the late 19th and early 20th century that enforced racial segregation. It wasn't for us, family. It was this place. America was designed on the backs of our people for them to benefit. And if you go to the Constitution years ago, it said that the African American was 3/5 of a man. We wasn't even considered to be human. Damo, what's up, my good brother? Babe, did we put it live in the link in the chat?
No, I can't right now. There's a couple people that commented that have some good feedback.
Okay, excellent. If any of you would like to come on just to say a few words, we're gonna put the link in the chat. So all you have to do is touch on the link or tap the link, and it'll bring you on board with me here. We're doing this for the first time, so we kind of feeling our way. Timothy Jameson, Black people have been in America for thousands of years. We were here when the Europeans came. They have been lying for centuries. I'm with you 100%. The Black man, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. We were here before Columbus. I understand where you're coming from. Do you really think Africa has the infrastructure to support migration of Black Americans? Why not? I mean, America or Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. And with the skill set of Africans coupled with the skill set of African Americans, the pressure that we've been under for hundreds of years, and you combine that energy, that power, what you have in a unified front is brothers like Ibrahim Traore. He understands when you come together, we are more stronger than divided. So absolutely, if the infrastructure is not in place, it will be in place. Cold Africa, whoever believes they are Hebrew should know that Kenya is the real ancient land of Canaan. Hey brother, I can't argue with that one. I lived in Israel, so I understand where you're coming from with that. Absolutely, Timothy. Again, if you guys want to come in, hit the link. We can chop it up together. Do not be afraid. Auntie Chrissy, if you're in the building, feel free to come on. Timothy, you see the link? Feel free. So, along with the Jim Crow laws, when Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X was in their heyday, they was cleaning up because you understand the environment that was created was projects. So those that didn't have our best interests at heart, they put liquor stores on every corner. They flooded our communities with drugs and alcohol and military ammunition. So this is why they call it the projects, because they stood afar and they looked and they saw the effects of what they was putting in place. Their objective was to keep us deaf, dumb, and blind. So it was a project. It was a project that they put in place to keep us down. So J. Edgar Hoover, he was the former director of the FBI, right? It said that his job was focused on preventing the rise of a black messiah. As part of COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program targeting black militant groups in the late 1960s. The main intention of the program was to surveil, misinform, and to ultimately subvert or destroy these groups to prevent the emergence of a charismatic leader who could unify and mobilize the movement. What was the movement? At that time, you had Kwame Nkrumah, you had Malcolm X, you had Patrice Lumumba, you had Muhammad Ali, you had great figures of the black experience moving to and fro, back and forth to Africa, right? And remember the late Martin Luther King, he said that I'm not fearing anything. Mine eyes have seen the coming of the Lord. I might not get there with you, but we as a people will get to the promised land. And he was talking about Africa. There was a lot of movement going back and forth. We was wearing afros, braids. You know, it was the so-called hippie movement. We was getting in touch with each other and the environment. And when the Nation of Islam, Code Africa, let me see what's up. Ibrahim Troy is the blueprint for the rebirth of Africa. Absolutely, Timothy. Code Africa, Faza Gaza. The original Sadiku Anubu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Sadiku Anubu. The original inhabitants of the projects were whites. Low-income housing was initially created for whites with low income, with the intentions of moving them on to the middle class. Okay. But we see what these projects, these neighborhoods have become. In Chicago alone, you have the murder capital. Washington, D.C. at one point was the murder capital. 400 murders per year. Atlanta trailing Detroit. Yo, it goes on and on and on. So, getting back to the point, J. Edgar Hoover was there to thwart these kind of movements because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at the time, he was cleaning people up from the drug use. He was causing them to see each other as the kings and the queens that we were. You understand? That's why he was a threat. He was a threat. So the objective of COINTELPRO was to keep us down. To keep us down. So men like Gaddafi and men like Patrice Lumumba and men like Kwame Nkrumah, Ibrahim Troy, and many others that I'm not even naming are looking to connect the dots from a historical standpoint and bring us back together. Bring us back together because in it is power. And they understand that when the sleeping giant wakes up, the sleeping giant is going to be a problem. So Africa, I say, family, it's definitely a lot of our people, like I was sharing a while ago, they, when they travel, they go down to Punta Cana and what's the other one? Punta Cana and the Dominican Republic and Mexico and Medellin and those are beautiful regions. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful regions, but do we have an ancestral connection to these regions? That is the question. I know that if I was to fly to South America, I would sit back and look and marvel at how beautiful it is, but it's not going to hit me here. Like when I first went to Ghana back in 1995, when I went to Ghana for the very first time, it was a young brother, Dr. Chikita, doctor, well-renowned, notable figure in Ghana, came to get me from the airport, and how he moved was so strong at the time. Came, got me up the line, took me through security, got my book stamped, and we was gone about our way. And then a few days later, he took me with him to teach a class. He taught about 40 students. And just the way he was, I'm looking at African genius in real time. And he was my age. I was like 25 at the time. He was my age, handling big business. And mind you, family, this is my first time to Africa. And of all countries, Ghana. And one of the things that I made a note of when we was riding up to the Volta region, it is so dense in forest and greenery. All I could think to myself is that God is here. God is here. And upon stepping off the plane, the smell of Ghana, the accents, the vibrant colors, how people was moving like none other. And I'm telling you, family, I am from the Virgin Islands. I am from St. Thomas. So all my life, my brothers and my aunties, they showed nothing but cultural vibes. You're around my family, quiet, serious, but they're cultured. If you go to my auntie in them house now, you go in the backyard and they can show you all types of vegetation and fruits, lemongrass. They got lemongrass for their grass in the front yard. So you pull up, you get in the car, and you can smell the lemongrass. You understand? So I've always been around vibes. And though I was kind of come up in Washington, D.C. from a tender age, from an infant to about 6 or 7, I was on the island. So that had an impact on me. I never forgot those experiences. So as I matured and got older and went to Africa, I said, man, it's nothing but the Virgin Islands, but on steroids. St. Thomas is the size of DC, and St. Thomas is only populated by like 50 to 60,000 people. So it's a very small place. And then you shift and come to Africa, you would find that you're dealing with over 54 countries. 54 countries that you can go to and get different experiences. I can fly up to Ethiopia, sit down to some black coffee, have my injera bread, and listening to the music and smelling the incense being burnt in the air. I could shoot over to Ghana and get me some banku or kenke. You understand? Peanut soup. Different vibes. You understand? You could go to Arusha. You can go deep in Tanzania and pull up on the Maasai and really understand and get a width of what their culture is about. You can go to the many mountains in Rwanda and see how clean that country is. They say it's the Singapore of Africa. Vibes upon vibes. We don't have to settle for one country. Our birthright, I'm going to say it now, our birthright is the whole continent. We're talking regions that gave birth to Mansa Kaka Musa, the Lion King of Mali. You understand? We're talking about great Zimbabwe walls, ancient Ghana. We're talking Dogon people from Mali. Huh? Family, we can go on and on and on. Rob Tyler, if you don't have the mental, financial, social ability to adapt, no place is going to be better than African Americans. Facts. You got to get your mind right. My teacher once told me, don't take your American Negrotudes, your attitude that you develop in America, do not take that to Africa. It won't do you well. So wrap your mind, get your mind straight. So Rob Tyler, I agree with you 100%. Strong-minded black people. Oh, I missed that. Strong-minded black people have prospered and dominated all over the globe. Big facts. Big facts. You know, anywhere we step our feet, we good. The earth and the fullness thereof belongeth unto the Lord and his people, according to the biblical narrative. So I wanted to come on here and share with the family that, in fact, Africa is indeed better for black people to thrive in. Intellectually speaking, economically speaking, family speaking. If you want to rear or raise your children, you don't have to worry about sending them off to school and wondering, man, is today going to be a mass shooting? You don't have to worry about that. Yes, Africa has some issues, but it ain't like in America. It's not like in America. Yes, they have stuff that go down on the continent. It does. But if a police get behind me here, I know that it's not going to be the same fate that I might meet in America. Facts. Facts. And like I said, fam, I'm not going to keep you all long today. We do have the link in the chat. So if you want to come up and share a few words, feel free. This is the Artist Journal, a platform where we can come and chop it up. I liken this space onto our digital village. So welcome, welcome, welcome. What is your thoughts? Is Africa the best environment for our people to thrive in? I say yes, 1,000 times over. And I'm standing on it. So since being here in Kenya, I had the blessed opportunity to meet people on the ground. Talu and her husband been showing just mad love, been giving us tips on how to move. My brother Ami up in Nairobi, handling big business, have a school, farm, a vegan restaurant called Soul Veg. If you're in Nairobi and if you're in the Westlands region, hit up Soul Veg, get you some good vegan eats. They got pizza, they got veggie burgers, they got traditional Kenyan food, and they just have a ton of energy and good spirits in there. Also, if you look, you need some nice, beautiful African jewelry like what I have on now. This is 925 sterling silver, straight from one of my jewelers in the Gambia, my man Jaja and his son Bach. We created a business together. It's called the Art Shop Artisans. .etsy.com. So we will have the link in the description after I upload the video. So feel free to go on there. We have a ton of beautiful silver jewelry, and we also have a line of brass with fine gemstones in it from Kenya. We have nice beaded watch bands, etc. So hit us up. And we are working currently with two artists out of Kenya, Steve and his brother. We are looking to build out a workshop space / gallery. So look forward to some footage of that, family, in the near future. It's about, I want to say it's about 15 to 1800 square foot of space. It's something that's going to be like a natural kind of feel. You can pull up, drive up, and see artwork everywhere. And the artists, along with J Cafe and myself, we will be in there doing our art. And we might offer some fresh refreshments for you guys, some sugarcane juice, some sugarcane juice mixed with ginger and lime. And we might do some coconut water. You know, stay tuned. We're going to vibe out again before I get out of here. Family, if anyone wants to come up, you guys are scared to come up. You ain't coming up. Oh, I missed that. Let me see. Who's this? Code Africa. They stole African history and made it theirs. Absolutely. 100%. If you guys haven't yet, check out what they put together. It's called the Berlin Conference, where Belgium and France and other European nations came together and split up Africa. The Berlin, that's Berlin, the Berlin Conference. Check that out. I would love to visit Africa one day. Ivan, absolutely. I always say, like the Muslim, they make Hajj in Mecca. That's what I feel for our people coming to Africa. It doesn't really matter what country. As long as you have credible people on the ground, people of integrity that have a track record of doing the right thing for and by people, any country is good. When I went to Ghana, I was blessed beyond measure. When I went to Gambia, my man Sharif took care of us. When we went to Senegal, we was kind of on our own in Senegal, but we was good. When we went to, when we came here to Kenya, blessed, you know, so have credible people on the ground. Elysium Soft. Glad I caught the live. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you. Well, I just wanted to come on and share a few words with the family as it pertains to, is Africa the best environment for us to thrive in? And like I said, 100,000%, I am going to stand on what I said. Absolutely. You can check all your boxes off here on the continent. You know, you cannot go wrong. So with that being said, family, again, check us out on Etsy. We have our jewelry line on Etsy. We ship it straight to your doorstep. If you're in the UK, America, it doesn't matter. It will get straight to your doorstep in under, well, I'm going to say 10 to 14 days because we're shipping from Kenya. So check us out at artisans.etsy.com, and the link will be in the description. So until next time, family, this is your brother Samoa here for another one. Take care of yourselves. And I'm going to tune out right now just to tune back in. Ciao.